So I would like to call the meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:02 PM. This is scheduled to be a joint meeting with the Finance Committee, and I know there's a couple of members that are on the Zoom call. I don't think they have a quorum, so they can't call their meeting to order at this time. The purpose is to have a joint meeting to discuss the proposed water and sewer rates that under order FY 24027, which is the only action item on our agenda. But before we get to that, is there anyone from the public here that wishes to comment at our meeting before we get into the legislation referred to? Is anyone here from the public that wants to comment? Seeing none, we'll go right to our legislation referred for this meeting. It's order FY 24027, FY 25 water and sewer rates. And again, we wanted to have a joint meeting with the Finance Committee to kind of discuss it. I'm glad you're here. Some of the concerns we had, or at least the Budget and Finance Committee had, is the 50% increase. That's kind of a lot, Azu, for one time increase. And I know there are other things. I guess I'll just refer to Azu to kind of go over the overview as to the justification a little bit behind the increase. I know there have been capital projects out there. That's probably a good part of this, but 50% is a big number. And I know the water rates were like 7%, which I don't think we had too many concerns about, but
Councilor, thank you. I know it's never an easy thing to let people know that they're going to spend more money. But I will assure you, as a ratepayer and a resident of the town, I didn't look at it personally as a very light matter, because it does also affect me as a ratepayer. But what you have is you don't have some balance that you will have on the water side, where basically the entire time everybody uses water. On the sewer side, it's condensed. The entire town is not sewer. So it seems a lot more exaggerated. But what's happened is we had the late Mr. Gardner, who does a lot of rate studies. He did the water rate study for us, and it was about 98, 99% done when he took a massive heart attack and they died. And so we took the mantle from there, that point, and moved on. Now, on the sewer side, if you really look at it, unfortunately, percentage is what people can relate to a lot readily. But in terms of dollar amount, it's really not that crazy, if you will. But what is driving the rates, truly, I will say it publicly, it's always those unmandated, unfinanced, if you will, mandates by the federal government. For example, what is called TMDF, total daily concentration discharge of nitrates into Taunton River, as well as the phosphorus that you allow. EPA sets those numbers. And so right now on our phase one, it's over $40 million of improvement. And we haven't even gotten to the second phase. So unfortunately, if we don't adjust the rates, remember now, we're not doing that to make money. We're doing that to cover the expenses that we're incurring due to those improvements mandated by the federal government through the EPA as well as the DEP. We are meeting with them next week. As a matter of fact, on the water side, a good example, on the water side, in the water supply, we are mandated to treat for nitrates. And that the 18 point something million dollars that the town spent is exactly for that. While we were doing that work, we got hit with PFAS. So now we are also being told, oh, by the way, you have to upgrade. You literally just built a new plant and you're told you got to upgrade it to treat PFAS, and they don't give you the money. Now, they do have, Laurie can talk more about the SRF, the State Revolving Fund, low interest or zero interest of a loan, but at the end of the day, you still gotta pay that. Okay, so it's really or the unfunded mandates by the federal government. Now, with the sewer, what we call parts per trillion treatment, not only are we gonna treat for nitrates, okay, and the phosphorus, you're also gonna treat PFAS on the wastewater side. Okay, so it's, we have a meeting next week with them for an extension to the, our ACO, the consent agreement that we signed with them to, perhaps stretch this out because, it's gonna drown people into debt. So we did not ever have a magic hat. And then we took out a magic hat and said, gee, what number will, like a Powerball, which one comes out? No, it's really based on what those mandates. Well, they were just basically trying to cover the cost of those our improvements that we have mandated to undertake.
So do you have to go up 50% this year? I mean, could you stagger this and do it like if you went up, if this was approved, what would you need potentially for fiscal 26? Or could you do like a 25% this year and maybe 25% next year? Or what are we looking at down the road for this?
We'll look at the people that pay the bill and how quickly we can do
This
how
is pretty much
stretch that. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too is, did you ever get any CARES or ARPA fund from the county for any of those sewer projects?
No, the upper money comes, yeah, but how much? You're talking about $1 million, $2 million?
Well, part of the ARPA fund with the special revolving fund is the loan forgiveness and the 0% interest, which was $10 million. So the original borrow was 43 million for phase one. This is only phase one that's still in the works. So the borrowing that we're looking to cover, because this work is expected to be done, and the loan will close in November. In fiscal 25, the new payment will start, and it's 1.7 million for principal, no interest.
How much was that?
1.7 million.
So,
The town is saving on
yeah,
it.
and on these sewer bills, is there any way to show what what part of my bill is capital and what part of my bill is usage? So I can see that this is all going, or some of it's going towards the infrastructure and some of it is going towards what I created, as far as usage. Is there any way to, if we're gonna, this isn't gonna go away, you say there's still part two coming.
Mm-hmm. On both the water
Right.
and the sewer.
So, I mean, I understand it has to be paid, but I think a 50% hit in 1 year to the taxpayer is a lot. And I don't know what percentage of town is affected. The water I'm fine with. It's the sewer, 50% increase to the sewer. And I don't know what the percentage of town people are on sewer, but it's still an increase, a substantial increase. So I don't know I'm just asking if there's any wiggle room this year and do another increase next year, or are you already saying next year it's also gonna be about a 50% increase? I don't know.
Well, okay, so I wouldn't want to jump the gun and say
Right.
this will be 50% next year.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at what we're dealing with right now, because part of like phase one, what the cost already is, because it's under construction, right?
Right, but you don't have to pay it all in 1 year. I mean, you just gotta make sure you have enough to make the payment.
That's correct, but you still gotta pay the construction, right? You
It's
still
the
gotta-
$1.7 million debt payment that we currently don't have, and our revenues based on what we're making.
So you need the 50% increase just to cover that 1.7.
Yeah.
I'm done. Go ahead, Mark.
So on the
question you asked, I just want to see if we can get a follow-up. What's the percentage or how many people are on the sewer system that these rates affect?
Can the town, believe it or not, it's about a third of the town.
Okay,
And yeah,
I don't know what that number means. but-
so
33%.
No, 33%, but I don't know how many ratepayers and.
How many households?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know. And I'm wondering why we couldn't have done this up to now. 5% a year, 10% a year, 50% to me seems like I can't support that. I'm not gonna vote for that. I think it's too much money in 1 year. I don't think people can take it. Nobody gets a 50% raise in their salary to pay for something like that. Even 25 and 25, Dennis, I can't look
Well,
at
they
that.
have to make the payment on the bond.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
bottom.
$1.22 per, that's the 50%, it's $1.22. Cost of 100.
I mean, I don't think we can act on this tonight. We probably could. I know the finance committee is online. Debbie, do they have a quorum? Do they have a quorum yet?
They do not. There's only 3 of them.
So they really can't ask questions either then, right? Because they can't call their meeting to order.
Correct.
Okay. Sean, anything?
Actually, you're not gonna know I'm here, but I would do 4, I think we need 5.
Yeah,
Well, you're on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3. 'Cause there's 2
On the
online.
third,
do
okay.
you have an idea of how many households are in the tiers for each water and sewer?
we can provide that information. But in terms of our household, we have, I believe, we have around 14,000 households in Bridgewater. So about a third of that, right? So that'll put it around 5,000.
Right, but I mean, within the 3 tiers, are they evenly distributed with those percentages or? Because I'm thinking someone who generates over 3,000 cubic feet of wastewater, is that a household or is that gonna be the prison or the university or commercial? Like, you've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Yep.
So I guess to kind of get an idea of what the impact is, now it's 50%, but is 70% of the sewer customers in tier 1? That's a little bit of a less of a hit than if they're in tier 3.
Yeah, most of it's mostly businesses and commercial and the college and the schools.
In tier 3.
In tier 3?
Yeah.
Okay,
And some in tier 2. Tier
But-
1 is your typical residential unless they have multi-houses.
okay.
or
So a single family
apartment
house,
complexes.
just for discussion purposes, would be in tier 1.
Correct.
So it'll go 0.0243 to 0.0365. So from a percentage wise, it's big, but from a potential dollar wise,
Yeah, so I did put together.
That's what I
the
was
bills,
alluding to
Right.
earlier, that we're talking percentages. But when you look at the raw amount, it's not that significant. Okay, this is like a dollar, like you said, a dollar.
$1.22, and
22.
the average increase for a current tier 1 user with water and sewer is $34 a quarter, which is an annual cost of $138.
okay.
Tier 2 residential, it's $46 per quarter, about $185 a year. And the tier 3, which are the large multi-unit homes, were about an increase of 25%, $125 per quarter, so it's about $500 a year. And the commercial and the businesses were a little higher. The percent for the tier 1 commercial is like 3%, tier 2 of 15%, which is about $360 a year. Tier 3 is $4,997, which is a 25% increase. So the larger increase on the sewer side is gonna hit the bigger businesses and the college too. So the college, they have four tier 1 accounts, and I can send this all to you. So you can, the issue has 11 tier 2 accounts and 19 tier 3. So tier one is about 3% increase, tier two is about 17%, and that's $470. And tier three,
Helpful to have all this information ahead of time.
So,
yeah,
Sorry.
and so that's about $9,000 per year for the tier three, that's 25%.
okay. So for discussion purposes, you could say that for a single family resident, you're looking at tier one, both from sewer and water.
Correct.
Okay. And if I did the math in my head, on average per month, it'd be anywhere from probably $12 to 19 and change per month. Okay.
And we bill quarterly, so.
Yeah.
Anything else, Mark? So I don't know how we want to continue this.
I would hold off and just wait for the next meeting because of like budget and finance,
Yeah.
the finance committee to.
So Deb, we'll try to attempt to have another joint meeting. I would try to do it 2 weeks from tonight before our council meeting. If we could do it again, I don't know what's being referred tonight to us.
I
It's
think you
probably-
have one.
I think so. We could start this at 6:15 or so in 2 weeks, if that jives with the finance committee, or just try to schedule another meeting, a joint meeting. If it's 2 weeks from tonight, that would be ideal. If it has to be outside of it, just reach out to Sean and me and Mark.
Okay,
So we're not gonna make any decision tonight. It's not even on our agenda tonight for a vote,
Correct.
because the finance committee needs to weigh in as well. I'm undecided how I'm gonna do this, but I don't want us to default on the loan. We owe the money, It's a big, I just hope next year, whoever's sitting here doesn't see another 50% increase.
Yeah, we actually have, we're in the process of getting a new affordability and a rate study,
Yeah.
just to see, especially with phase two coming, it's,
I think what Sean did was very helpful. If we could somehow have that in a
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
Sure,
With those
well,
numbers.
I'll send you
Yeah,
this,
email that.
and I'll email everyone, just, because at the finance committee last week, you had asked for some examples, so we put that together.
Right, thank you. So we asked our questions, we just don't get.
When is your finance committee meeting? The regular one coming up? Do you know?
I don't believe it's been scheduled yet. I can tell you that I will not be in town on the 9th, or even in the state, so I don't know that I'll make that one, but I don't expect him to hold it up for me. It's just hopefully the others.
And how many are in the finance committee?
There's 9, so we need 5.
And you're having trouble with that? or-
Sometimes.
To the board, this is Steve Pace, if I may.
Hi, Steve.
How you doing? Thank you for getting together tonight. Just a quick question. I wanted to, how are we going to sell any part of this to the public? The water rate, the sewer rate increase, all they're going to hear from us is we're giving them brown water and you want to increase our rates. How do we, how do we defend that comment?
Well, I think the way that we approach is first, the brown water, from what I've seen and heard, the complaints have come down dramatically since the new water treatment plant has come online. Still gonna have it with hydrant flushing, but that's in every town. I think a lot of people complain because they're not aware of the hydrant flushing. So, I mean, that's part of what we're paying for, is the reduction in that particular type. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. It does pop up every so often. But again, I would say in any town I've lived in, there's been water issues from that perspective. But prior to the new water treatment plant coming on, and Azu, correct me if I'm wrong, we did have a lot of the brown water issues. We did have issues with the wells at one point, but as far as I know, at this particular point, those have been addressed. And now we're paying for the infrastructure that we brought into the town to address the issues that have been brought up.
Understood. Understood. Well, I agree that, you know, we can't default on the loan. We're gonna have to, come up with a percentage that works for all parties and, yeah, just as long as, the well systems, I think we have one or two that still need to be replaced. Is that correct?
That
Rick,
is
you know?
Well number 9 and well number 5. And
Right.
we have the approval now from DEP for the long-term
Yeah.
pump test. And then
Outstanding.
being fast track because they are being treated as replacement wells. If we were totally new source, we'd be light years away.
Yeah.
But because it's replacement wells.
And if you want, if you want people to feel a little bit better on what we're paying, have them look at the MWRA rates.
Here we go.
And no, I mean, take a look at those, and people that work in the MWRA should wear masks because they're thieves. So,
Body armor.
but I would put that out there. No one wants to pay more. And I don't want to pay more. No one does. No one ever wakes up in the morning and says, I'm very excited that my bills are going up. But I think if we present it as, I like to do it on a per month basis. How much is it per month? I know we bill on quarterly, and chunk it down to that. It's a little bit more palatable, but in my personal opinion, we're on the water. I'm not on sewer, I'm on septic, but the water, I've seen a dramatic improvement. And I've seen a reduction in the complaints. There's still going to be complaints. There's always going to be complaints, but I think what we've invested in is starting to pay dividends. But yeah, at the end of the day, not only do we have that, but the PFAS thing is going to be a huge challenge for every city and town, not only in the Commonwealth, but in the country.
Thank you for that. Well said. And, yeah, I'll be able to sit with the, financial committee and, yeah, let's come up with a percentage we all agree on.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Me?
And
Yes.
MJ Spagone, Vice Chair of the committee.
Hi,
So
MJ.
I know that our next meeting is actually scheduled tentatively for March 1st. That's what I had on my calendar so far.
April, you mean? April 1st?
No, yeah, April 1st. That's what I meant. My apologies. I'm having technology issues this evening. I'm actually on my cell phone right now. I've had home network issues I'm trying to suss out. But as far as I can see from my calendar, it looks like April 1st is our tentatively next scheduled meeting. I don't have the council schedule on my phone right now, but I'm guessing your next meeting is going to be the week after that.
The 9th, yep.
Okay, so I would say at this point, I would ask that your committee at least direct your staff to get in contact with Josh to see if we might be able to pull our membership to see if they might actually be more tenable to meeting the following week as opposed to April 1st instead.
Do you two have a problem with April 1st, which is Monday?
I could do it.
Hold on, I don't see one on it.
The thing I'm more concerned about is getting the meeting scheduled in the time frame that we need to, considering it's going to be midweek by tomorrow. So we still have to do the 48 hours notice. So I can email Josh after this meeting to let him know what the state of play is. But I want to make sure that we're agreeable to the committee.
We could meet the 1st or the 9th with you guys, but we will meet on the 9th anyway.
Mhm.
Or we could even throw what's comes to us tonight on the 1st, if we meet the 1st, but get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So 1st or the 9th is good for us.
And
If
you're
you
not
want
here
to,
on-
Except for me, MJ, just so you know, I can't make the 9th that week,
but you can make the 1st.
but I can make the 1st. And I'm
I
not saying it's anything around me, I'm just saying,
No, I'll let Josh know that
Okay.
I'm thinking we'll probably just have to post it anyway, and hope and expect that there will be a quorum. I appreciate that both you and Mr. Pace were able to attend tonight. I was expecting the chairman as well to be with us in attendance, and maybe one other person. And I apologize on behalf of the committee for the attendance not being up to par that we wanted it to be this evening. We did want to actually speak with you folks and try to get a better idea of what's going on. I think for me personally, I think I've heard most of what I needed to hear for me personally to make an informed decision. I know we do have a lot of unfunded mandates from the federal government that have been, coming down the pike the last few years, everything from PFAS standards to stormwater management and stormwater management 2, I believe. So I'm very cognizant of those issues, and I think Mr. Edeniro indicated the items that I mostly was concerned about when it came to the justification for the rate increases. They are a tough pill to be prescribed, but it is something that we do have to address, and certainly any type of solutions that we can work towards that are agreeable not just to both of our committees, but also to the taxpayers and our stakeholders in the community. I'm supportive of anything that would be like that, and certainly whatever we can do to at least meet and get things squared away, and as a collective group, I'm all for it at this point. So when you folks conclude your meeting tonight, I'll email Josh to let him know what's going on as well. I know you folks will reach out to him too, but I want to make sure we're getting this moved on so we can at least get the meetings posted and everything squared away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak tonight? Anyone else from the public here? No?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:29 PM.